Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Good to see each and every one of you. If you are new here, click that subscribe button if you're digging what you're hearing, what you're seeing. And if you are coming back as a normal subscriber, a regular subscriber, a regular of the channel, if you will, I appreciate you for your support, as always. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do something different today. This channel is usually known for my podcast, At Home with Mark, which I do weekly, or gear demos, which also happen weekly. And maybe some lessons here and there. But today, I wanted to start a new series. This thing is going to be called My Favorite Things. And what I want to do, periodically, not every week, but I'd like to try to have a series where we talk about our favorite things. For me, this idea spawned when I was coming home from the grocery store the other day, thinking about my favorite musicians, guitarists, pianists, drummers, bassists, all that stuff. But obviously, I'm first and foremost a guitarist, and I was thinking about who are the 10 main guitarists that have really, really inspired me and fundamentally made me change the way I think about music. I thought this could be a fun thing to talk about, and there's way more than 10 guitarists that have inspired me. There's a lot of honorable mentions, which I can get to at the very end, but this is not going to be a top 10 list, meaning from 10 to 1, 1 being the best. This is just 10 people that have utterly pushed me over the edge in wanting to be a better guitar player every single day of my life. So, let's start kind of more recent and work our way backwards maybe through the timeline. And I want to do that instead of starting at the beginning because the beginning's too obvious. But maybe we'll jump around a bit. But anyway, I want to start with my buddy, Joey Landreth. Joey has been on my show 3 times. He's a good friend. I've taken lessons from him. He's been a great mentor. And I've learned so much from just listening to that guy and from having those lessons, obviously, and everything. But why do I love Joey so much? Why do I like his playing as much as I do? And what struck me, right? And I start to think about those things. And really, the first time I saw Joey was probably on the Andertons TV show when the captain meets Joey Landreth. That was like the first time I saw Joey. He had that parts caster with the gold foil pickups in it, and he was playing in a weird tuning, like open C. I'd never heard of anybody doing that. I had already been studying in open E because I'm a huge Derek Trucks fan. We'll get to Derek later. He's obviously on the list. But I think that for me, what really struck me outside of when I've been shedding on learning slide guitar and open E is I gravitate towards more dark, gnarly, snarly tones. And I think that his tone really spoke to me. And then when I heard his music and I heard the Brothers Landreth and all that, it just sealed the deal. His knowledge of harmony, his ability to put himself in uncomfortable situations and learn from it, his tenacity with transcribing stuff. We've had conversations where he's like, I'm going to transcribe this Corey Henry B3 thing and transpose that for guitar and see how I can use some of the counterpoint and whatnot. That stuff is so inspiring. To me, that is like the mark of a guitarist who gives a damn. And I am full on board with that. And obviously his slide playing is just so tasteful. It doesn't kind of compete or sound like Derek or sound like anybody really. He has his own vibe. Never ever heard of anyone stepping on a fuzz pedal and playing slide, and I was like, I can totally get behind that. So there's Joey. Joey's on the list. Thank you, Joe. Next on the list, I'll say, and again, this isn't a top 10. This is just 10 guitarists. Madison Cunningham. Madison, I first heard, I was on vacation with my family on the eastern shore of Maryland at the beach, and this is pre her first record coming out, and Pin It Down was on the radio, and it was on that particular station a bunch. And that was the first time I heard it. It was in the car driving somewhere when we were at the beach, and I was driving, and I was so enthralled with the music that I told my wife, please, please, please look up, see if you can just type in some of these lyrics and find out who this is. And then when I got back to our condo that night, I pre-ordered her record. And I was so excited to hear the whole album, and it blew me away. Absolutely blew me away. Also, another guitarist who puts themselves in precarious situations and, kind of reaches for the gold. And I think for her, what I find really interesting, she plays in those baritone tunings. She has those rubber saddles on her bridge, which make a totally different tonality come out of that instrument. But what really speaks to me, she's a badass guitarist who comes up with these amazing harmonic ideas, and the way that she crafts melody over top of those harmonic ideas is just gorgeous. It's like when you listen to her, it's like a masterclass in songwriting and guitar playing, just listening to her. The last episode of At Home with Mark, Joey and I were gushing about her, and Joey said, man, we're witnessing a great being, like, developing in front of our eyes. And I 100% agree with that. I couldn't agree more. If you aren't hip to Madison's music at all, she's got a bunch of stuff that's on iTunes. Go get it. Please dive in deep. She's a killing guitarist. And, just listening to her, the way that she forms ideas and connects things harmonically, it's beautiful. It's an absolutely beautiful thing to witness. All right. Let's go to Ariel Posen. I can't not have Ariel on this. I love the way that Ariel approaches improvisation. He, to me, is on just another level. Like, listening to him improvise on the spot is yet another masterclass in the instrument. He has this sensibility and this incredible ear to grab a moment and take that moment and ball it up in a fist and punch you in the gut in the best of ways. His phrasing alone, for me as a guitarist, is something to behold. I mean, really, to learn how to let music breathe and how to create melodic ideas on the spot, he's a master. I mean, there is no getting around it. He is one of the greats today as well. I'm sure a lot of you guys are hip to Ariel, but if you're not, go get his records. His first record is glorious. Everything that he's put out so far, it just gets better and better and better. So definitely go check him out. Listen to his music. Yet again, another guy playing in alternate tunings, weird stuff, baritone stuff, fuzz pedals, harmonic tremolo. The way that he makes his tone dirty and makes his tone clean for individual parts of a song are so poignant. And I know that seems so trite in terms of tone and learning how to appropriately approach a song when you're playing, but he just has this innate thing that he just knows how to arrange music. And to me, as a songwriter and arranger for what I do, is so inspiring. And I think about a lot of the times when I'm writing nowadays, I think a lot about, what would Joey or Madison or Ariel do in these situations? And it pushes me. It makes me not rest on my laurels and think about other ways to approach it. I mean, it's just the facts of life. All right, let's move on to, let's get into some jazz world right here, because Ariel is a good transition into that, because the other thing that I love about Ariel is he's got this crazy bebop knowledge. And it comes out in his playing, and I'm a huge jazz fan too, so like, he's just the perfect smattering of everything from, my love of I Mother Earth to my love of Joe Pass, you know what I mean? So, all right, let's go into John Scofield. I cannot have a discussion like this without bringing John up, because he probably entered my life the earliest, minus one other person on this list. And I first heard John Scofield in my house as a kid, because my older brother used to play FIFA in his room, and I would hear him listening to music in there. 9 times out of 10, it would be Grateful Dead live tapes. But at one point, he had this like groove-oriented, almost like free jazz type thing happening, coming from his room. And I remember going in there and just like thinking like, what is this music? It was Medeski, Martin, and Wood. And I'm pretty sure it might have been Shack Man or Friday Afternoon in the Universe, one of those 2 records, one of those early records. And then he put on a go-go, because I was like, what is this? This is really cool. And I remember listening to that whole record. I wasn't even playing PlayStation. I was just sitting in there listening to it. And I just remember being enthralled with the way that the guitar sounded and how there was these quick runs, and there was these like dissonant things that made the music more interesting. It wasn't just straight ahead jazz playing over the head and then, you know, playing a couple choruses through and improvising. This was something different. This was like groove oriented, like just like a mashup of like kind of like blues, hip hop beats, grooves, and funk that I was so into. And I didn't even know at the time that I was into funk and into like R&B, soul stuff. That stuff kind of came out later in me. But when I first heard a go-go, from start to finish, I had to figure out who this guitarist was. And my brother didn't know much about it. I mean, he knew who was on it because, you know, the tracks listing were on there. And also, who were the musicians on this record. But my dog is dreaming. So if you hear little puffs and huffs, he's over there dreaming. But yeah, so I just wanted to, you know, talk a little bit about John, because the way that he phrases, the way that he approaches things, you know, is different from song to song. He has such a vocabulary. I mean, I've learned so much from listening to him because I've learned that dissonance is cool. It can make something tense where you have a moment to release it. So coming in, you know, from a jam band point of view, from where I was at that time, that was a big learning moment in my life. But John has such a breadth of music throughout his career, from screaming hot, straight ahead stuff to this funky a-go-go thing to like the Uber Jam stuff. I mean, it's just like, if you look at his career, you know, it's so vast and different in the styles. I mean, he just put out a record that's like a solo guitar record where he does a bunch of looping, you know, with a boomerang. It's just like, that dude is constantly reinventing, you know, the wheel in a good way every time, every record. All right, so Scofield. One of my biggest influences, I would say in my top 3, if I had to do a top, is Wayne Krantz. Wayne Krantz is unlike any guitarist you'll ever hear. If you are not hip to what Wayne does, Wayne is a fusion guitarist. I hate to use that word because he transcends that genre, in my opinion. I think he embodies everything that is great about originality in the music industry as a guitarist. There are other guitarists who have come after Wayne who try to, you know, grab that thing and that sound and like what Wayne does with his rhythmic playing and everything. And they do it great, but he was the trailblazer. Let's be real. And if you go back and listen to the early Krantz stuff, and he'll even say he cringes at some of those chorus-laden tones he had early on in his record career. But if you go in and you really dive into, you know, get 2 Drink Minimum. If you've never heard Wayne Krantz, that's a live record. Get 2 Drink Minimum. Put it on. Even if you can wear some headphones and listen to it, it's just an amazing record. But the first time I heard Wayne, I was over at my drummer's house. We were chilling, and he put on this concert that was from some festival in France. I can't remember what it was. But anyway, it was him, Tim LaFabe, and Keith Carlock. That trio is the holy trinity, as far as I'm concerned, of the music fusion, jazz fusion world. And I think many people would agree with me. But Wayne is by far one of my biggest influences. The thing that I really love about Wayne, he has all the facility in the world to do whatever he wants on that instrument. From creating counterpoint, these beautiful things. If you listen to a song like Rushdie off the Krantz Carlock LaFabe album, that's a great example of that. But he approaches improv in such a peculiar way that is so intriguing to me, because he plays so rhythmically. He has the deepest pocket of any guitarist I know, and that is what turned me on about him. So go check Wayne out, listen to it. It is otherworldly. And if we continue in the jazz, funk, fusion world, I have to put Eric Krasnow in. Eric Krasnow is, you know, one of my OG influences for sure. And if you listen to me play some nights in some clubs, you're going to be like, you copped that from Kraz. And I'm going to be like, yep, 100%. So he is by far one of my faves. The way he plays rhythm guitar, the way he solos, the feel, the tone, the touch, his overall vibe, the way he plays the instrument. I mean, just listen to him comp behind somebody else. He supports music so well. And he writes the hell out of a song. He really does. And segueing right into the next guitar player, someone he has worked with extensively in writing music, is Derek Trucks. Derek is my first foray into slide guitar playing. I didn't grow up listening to the Allman Brothers. I didn't grow up listening to Dwayne. I didn't grow up listening to Elmore James or anything like that. I wasn't lucky enough to be exposed to things like that at an early age. But when I heard Derek, when he was playing with the Derek Trucks band, I immediately did a double take, because dude is my age. We're literally a day apart. I'm a day older than him. Same year that we were both born, the same year. He was born the day after me. And I'm like, how is that dude who's my age, and I'm 20 at the time or something, playing like this? I do not understand this. This is crazy. One of the most influential slide guitarists of all time. It's just point blank. That's what it is. I think that he embodies the beauty of making that instrument sound like a vocalist, and there's nobody that does it better. There's a lot of people who are great slide guitar players, like Sonny Landreth, all those people who crush it as well. But there's something about Derek's tone and note choice and how he makes it feel like it's like an extension of like his voice in a way. It's just plain gorgeous. We all love Derek. We know that. Okay, a couple more. So I have next on the list is Trey Anastasio. All right, I grew up a Fish fan. He's got to be on there. He has made me think about the instrument a lot differently, and the way he kind of bends down into the note, things like that. Little things, just little nuanced things that Trey does that I was like, oh, I never thought about doing that. Or, oh, you can do that with music? Oh, I didn't know you could write on this instrument like this, and you can create these orchestral pieces, as a guitarist. And so he's got to be on there. Next to him, another jam band guy who is probably in my top 3 would be Chuck Garvey from the band Mo. Chuck is just, I don't know. He's a fan of Wayne Krantz, so when I first heard Mo, I really gravitated towards what Chuck was doing more than Al. I love Al as a guitarist and everything's great, but I gravitated towards Chuck because he was playing more rhythmically. He was doing things that were a little sideways, a little left of center than what you would think. And I think at the time, that was before I knew who Wayne was, and there was something really attractive about that. It was mysterious. It was dangerous. It was something that I was almost afraid to listen to because I didn't want to go down a rabbit hole of learning how to do those things, which I ended up doing. But there's something about the way that guy approaches playing. It's got this angular nature like Wayne. It has this grit, this grime, this sweetness, this beauty, this harshness, this anger to it. It's all the things that, I feel like make up a great guitarist. And Chuck, I wish you all the health in the world, buddy. He's coming back from a bad stroke it's a couple years now. And hopefully he'll be back playing with Mo in 2023. I've heard he's getting better. I've heard a lot of things are only up and up for him. So Chuck, love you, man. I hope you get well soon. Last on the list, Mike McCready. Mike McCready of Pearl Jam is the reason that I play guitar. There is no getting around that. Everybody knows how big of a Pearl Jam fan I am. But as you can see from this list, I'm not just a Pearl Jam fan. I listen to so much music, and I really soak up all this stuff. But Mike is the reason I have a couple guitars, and I play every day, and trying to get better on the instrument. I try to write good songs, and I try to, be the best I can and set an example for myself for the next day, getting into good habits and everything. I cannot walk away from this without saying Mike McCready's name. So I hope you guys like this. We can do more of this. Next time I want to talk about, piano players maybe. Gabe Dixon's going to be on that one for sure. And if you guys like this, let me know in the comment section below. Should we do more of these? Well, we can do gear stuff too. I don't know. Let me know down there. You guys take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. See you next time.